Okay, so now you're basically in a fresh install, and we are going to get, oh, what's it called? VirtualBox. Yeah, we're gonna get VirtualBox set up. So we need some stuff that is not in the default repositories. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we got to set up a third-party repository. So Fedora project.org/static/0608b95.txt. Okay, of course. Oh, whoops, 8b8. There we go. So that's the first thing we do. Next thing we do is we wget http://dl.fedora project.org/pub/6/x86_64 if you're running a 64-bit system. If you are running a 32-bit system, that's going to be i386. If you want to know what you're running, do a uname-r. I'll show you that in just a second. apple-release-6-7.noarch.rpm. Okay, so we download that. Now, if you want to know if you're running 32 or 64, if it says that, you're running 64. If it says, I haven't run a 64-bit in a long time, it may still say i386, but I think now it says i686. If it says i386 or i686, you're running a 32-bit system. So when you type in this link, you're going to want to replace this with i386. Okay, so we downloaded the file. Now, rpm-ivh apple-release. So we install it. Come over to etsy-yum.repos.d. Did I VI that? CD over there. Okay. Type in nano. I gotta remember not to use VI. Apple.repo. Okay. And enabled. Change this to 0. And type in priority equals 10, okay, and Control X, yes, enter. Type in yum install yum-plugin-priorities, and that will install that. For me, it's already installed, and it's not going to say anything. And also nano CentOS-base, okay. And set priority 1 for base, priority 1 for updates, priority 5 for extras, priority 5 for CentOS Plus, and priority 5 for contrib, Control X, ls. Okay, so we have Apple installed. The next thing we need to do is get the VirtualBox repo file. So wget virtualbox.org/virtualbox/rel/virtualbox.repo. Okay, so cat virtualbox.repo, and we can see that there's the key. So that's all set up. Okay, now we need to do a yum-enable repo apple and dkms kernel-devel kernel-headers gcc make patch glibc glibc-headers glibc-devel and libgomp. Okay, so we need to install all of these. We're enabling the Apple repository for DKMS, and it's going to install all that. It's going to go through and oops. Okay, yum install. Okay, so it's grabbing all of these. On my system, basically everything's installed except for DKMS, and it's installed in the latest version, so we're going to say yes. It's going to probably have a bunch for you, but we're just going to say yes, and it's going to go out and grab all of them and start the install process. Okay, that'll take longer for you because it's probably doing more packages. Now, the thing we got to make sure of is do a ls/user/source/kernel. Kernels, right? And then do a uname-r. This needs to match up. These two need to be exactly the same, okay? If they're not the same, do a yum-y update, okay? It's going to go through and update your kernel most likely, and then reboot, and then come back and pick up on the video from here, right? But so now we want to install VirtualBox, so yum search VirtualBox, and okay. So looks like we got a few different versions here. Let's just install the latest. Yum install VirtualBox, okay, and say yes. So it's going to go and download it and install it. Okay. Here's the IRC channel if you're interested. Man. Okay, I'm going to pause this until that's done. Okay, so it downloaded it and now it's installing it, and here we go. Okay, it's going to go through the install process. So that actually took a little while. Yeah, that took a minute. I did notice. So I looked. There's a VBox install log, and if I tail verilog messages, it says cannot read some. It can't read some UDEV rules. So I wonder if that file is there. Okay, cool. So it created it. Probably have to do with the drivers. Okay, and the install for me, cat/log VBox install, went perfectly fine. It built the modules and everything like that, so hopefully it should go fine for you. And yeah, alright, so VirtualBox is now installed and seems to be running. Let us come over here. And okay, so let's see, Virtual Media Manager, Preferences, Contents. Okay, let's create a new one. And we're going to name this one vm1.noob2admin.com. It's going to be Linux, and it's going to be, do they have CentOS in here? Red Hat 64-bit, that's fine. Or if you're going to run 32, you know, just Red Hat. And 512 megs of RAM, beautiful, wonderful. Create a virtual hard drive now. The recommended size is 8 gigs, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Create. QCow is nice, but we'll just stick with the VirtualBox disk image. That's fine, BDI. Dynamically allocated. That's good, dynamically allocated. And 8 gigs, that's what I want. That's perfectly fine. I wonder where it saves this to. Saves it into my root home directory. Yeah, but you can choose where you want to save it, so that's fine. Hit create. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you, I do not use this. So, settings. And storage. And okay, cool. And empty. And I want to add a, choose a virtual CD DVD. Okay, so we're going to choose that, and we're going to go to file system, temp. By the way, oh yeah, I Googled that UDEV rule error. Let's look at something real quick. Go to downloads, go to mirrors, choose a mirror that's close to you, okay? In my case, I'm in Oregon. And so I come over here, Portland State, there we go. Go to here, go to 6.3, ISOs. If you're 32-bit, go in here, 64-bit, which I am, go in here. And download the minimal ISO, right? Save the file. And it's going to go into root/downloads. So move, here I'll just, so it will go into root/downloads. So move it from root downloads, okay, to temp. There we go. So download that and then move it to the temp folder. So here it is, and open it, and hopefully that's all I needed to do. Hopefully it's attached. Let's see if I need to change boot order. Nope, that's good. Processors, I could use, I have 2 CPUs, I could use 2, but that's fine. We don't need a whole lot going on here. Network. Enable network adapter, bridged. Change this to bridged. Name, BR0. Perfect. Promiscuous mode even. Okay, that's fine. And that's really all we need there. Serial ports, USB, network, audio, display, general, advanced. Oh, shared clipboard. Yeah. Host to guest. Ooh. Yeah, bidirectional. Do that, bidirectional. Select switch data will be copied between the... I'm not too sure. That's probably so you can like drag files over and stuff like that. Don't necessarily need that, but clipboard, that's cool. Shared clipboard. Hit OK. And start this. Okay, you have auto capture keyboard option turned on. You can press the host key at any time to uncapture the keyboard and mouse. The host key is currently defined as right control. Okay. The virtual machine execution may run into error. Oh, okay. Okay. We suggest that you take an appropriate action to avert the error. The host I/O cache for at least one controller is disabled, and the medium for this VM is located on ext4 partition. There is a known Linux kernel bug which can lead to the corruption of the virtual disk image under these conditions. Either enable the host I/O cache permanently in the VM settings, or put the disk image and the snapshot folder onto a different file system. The host I/O cache will now be enabled for this medium. That's great. Okay, so it does it. Seems to do it itself. So after we're done installing, we'll check and make sure that that's the case. Okay. Okay. I feel like a noob, man. I don't work with VirtualBox too much, or ever. Let me see. Oh, cool. Install guest editions. Enable remote display. I like this. This is pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, capture. Hit OK. English, US. And reinitialize all. And choose your time zone. I'm in Pacific. I go Los Angeles. Hit OK. Choose your password for root. Something you'll remember. OK. And we're going to say use entire drive. Hit tab. Tab goes between the menu items. Use entire drive. And we'll say OK. And now hit the over arrow and hit enter to write changes to disk. Okay, and it's creating the file systems and doing all that stuff. Alright. Okay, so we'll let that install. Okay, so now it is done installing, so we're going to reboot the system. And, you know, it sits at that last package for a little bit, and it's no big deal. Yeah. Okay. So let's boot into the system, and I want to do two things. Okay. Notice it didn't bring up any interface, so log in and IPL. ETH0 is in a state of down, so if up ETH0, it's determining the IP information. Cool. Okay, yum install nano. Or you don't have to do this. If you're comfortable with VI, you can use VI. Hit yes and hit yes. Otherwise, you know. Okay, so nano /etsy/sysconfig/network-scripts/scripts, if config-eth0. Change on boot to yes. This line doesn't really matter, but I like to get rid of it. Take that out. Control X. Y, enter. So save that file. That'll bring your ETH0 interface up on boot. Next thing I want to do is IP adder show ETH0. My IP is 192.168.1.136. So let's SSH to that. SSH 192.168.1.136. Yes. Check the uptime. It's been up 2 minutes. Awesome. If you cannot SSH to your system, there is a problem, let me know. Now, got to do a final thing because this is VirtualBox. Let us install the guest editions. Okay. have? Okay. So you click install guest editions, and then come over here and type in mount/dev/cd-rom/media. Okay, so go to media. Cool, there we go. And let's see, /vbox linux guest editions .run. That should work. Hit enter. Okay, it's installing the guest editions. Building the main guest editions module. Failed. Doing non-kernel setup of guest editions. Okay. Installing the Windows system drivers. Failed. So, you know what? It's looking for make, which is not on here, and it's looking for GCC, not on here. So let's do this. Non-key DKMS. Okay, so let us do very similar to what we did in our last system. cd to temp rpm -- import the EPEL repository again, so fedora project.org/static/06008b895.txt. Okay, and then we got to get the RPM. So dl.fedora project.org/pub/6/x86 _ wait. Yeah, I'm running 64-bit. x86/64/apple-release-6-7.noarc.rpm. uname -r shows I'm running 64-bit. If it's i386 or i686, replace x86-64 in this link with it's i386, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so before we can do that, because wget's not on here, yum install wget and hit yes. Okay, now get the file. There we go. And rpm-ivh EPEL. So let's install that. cd over to etsy.yum repos.d, vi that epel.repo file, and nano epel.repo, and come down to enabled and put no. Control X, yes, there we go. Okay. Clear. Or you can hit Control L. It's a little bash thing. So we got EPEL set up. We got all that stuff done, right? Now, what in the heck do we do next? Oh yeah. I gotta yum --enable repo EPEL install. We need DKMS kernel-devel kernel-headers gcc make patch glibc -headers glibc -devel and libgomp. Okay, need to install all those. There we go. Install. That helps to not have typos. And we are probably going to have to do a yum update. And you'll see why in just a second, as soon as this is done installing. Yes. So let those install. Okay, so the install is done. Now, we need to check something, and this is going to determine whether or not we have to update the system. let us do ls/user/source/kernels. And let us do uname-r. Notice that these do not match up. Okay? So that means we're going to have to install the latest kernel, yum install kernel. Or we could just update the whole system. I would recommend doing yum-y update, but for sake of time, I'm just going to install the kernel. Yum install kernel. And it's going to pull the latest kernel and the latest kernel firmware. And I'm going to say yes. I'm going to let this install. It's good just to update all the packages that are installed on your system to the latest what's in the repos. But yeah. Okay, so now that I installed the latest kernel, okay, I am going to reboot the system. Okay, so it's booting up, and yeah. So I log in here in a second. Go to root, type in your password. Okay, ls/user/source/kernels, and uname-r, and now they match. So let's install guest editions. So mount, or click install guest editions, mount /dev/sr0/media, or CD-ROM's a nice /media. Okay, go to /media and ls./vbox Linux editions.run. Okay, so it's removing it first. Good, because we want to reinstall it basically. I wasn't sure how I would go about that process, but that's good. Okay, okay. I didn't know you had to install all that stuff in the guest as well. Okay, no errors there. Building the main guest edition module. And that failed. So let me take a look at the file here. Oh, Perl command not found. Yum install Perl. Wow. You know what? Let's do a yum group install development tools. Okay? Let's just install basically a bunch of stuff. This thing's going to be a pain. Alright, yes. So now I can kind of understand why Bill O'Reilly was so pissed off about having to do it live. Because it's things like this, I guess, huh? Alright, so we installed development tools. Now, let's try this again and see what happens. Alright, so it's removing the installed version. And gonna reinstall. Let's watch it. Sorry, that's my kid. Wee, background noise. He was taking a nap, so I figured it would be a good time to make a video, but the smell of spaghetti woke him up, I guess. Okay, so it's building the guest edition kernel modules. So hopefully this time it doesn't screw up, huh? This took a minute last time, didn't it? So let it go. So I think having the guest edition will allow us to switch to seamless and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to update this for those who are not going to be... Oh, I don't know how to do a VirtualBox at the command line. I got to assume there's commands for it. Let's think. VBox maybe? VBox headless, VBox manage. I wonder if VBox manage is interactive. No, it's not, but we will have to learn this. I might actually have to check this out because I like KVM, but VirtualBox is pretty cool. And it's made by the company that I just got hired by, so that I'm going to start working for in 2 weeks. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to tell them to, I wonder if I could have installed the guest editions using Yum. They should just have guest edition packages that you can install that will install all the dependencies and all that junk. Alright, so this is going. I'm going to pause this for a minute. Wow, that seriously took a long time. And this failed. And that's perfectly fine. Could not find the x.org or x386 Windows system. I don't have a desktop installed on here, and so that's fine. We don't need that. So seriously, wait for it. It took like, I don't know, 20 minutes of it just sitting at starting, no, at, where did it sit at? Building the VirtualBox guest edition kernel modules. So it sat there for a good 15, maybe 20 minutes. Or maybe it was only 5 and I'm just antsy. But, so there we go. So that is built, and probably to use it, let's power it off. And so power it off. Alright, come over here to settings real quick. I want to see something. So, basic system. Display, storage, audio, network, serial ports, USB, shared folders. I remember it said something about that I/O thing earlier, and I was just kind of curious about that, but I cannot find the option in here, and it did say that it checked it, so hopefully everything's good there because of the ext4 bug. But so okay, we installed guest editions. Let us start this sucker up. You have this will cause a virtual machine to blah blah blah. Okay, view. Okay, I'm wondering, hit escape here to see the startup messages. I'm kind of wondering now if it's going to start a service or something. I'm not really that concerned about guest edition or guest. Wow, what's it called, man? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, guest editions. Yeah, not. Oh, okay, cool. So it started that. It went by pretty fast, but it did start it. And I can't switch to seamless, but one of the things I noticed is that putting my mouse over it does do that now. Let me see. So let's see. View, switch to full screen. Host F. Windowed mode, switch. Okay, I mean, really, that's fine. Let me see. Let's see something. VirtualBox editions are currently running. So, okay, they're running. Not really too sure what they do. Like I said, I'm pretty new to the VirtualBox, but we'll figure this out. The important thing is we got this set up. So, we are done. And on to the next video. And that will probably be out relatively soon. By next weekend for sure. So, alright.